Justin, should we become casting agents? Should we abandon our careers and become Hollywood execs?
That's what we already did with we were like, should we become podcasters? What's stopping us?
Literally, let's do it. We're moving to Hollywood. We're going to Hollywood, baby.
I'm the bearer of bad news, Justin.
And I'm one of the co-creators of the Post-it Note, Jeff.
And welcome to BANTS! Wow, I think that was actually our most in sync, and now I'll never comment on it again.
Okay.
So Jeff, how have you been?
You know what? I'm having a little bit of a weekend. I thought this was going to be a reset. It has been nothing of the sort. It has been a little bit stressful, a little bit disappointing, and I have no hot water in my apartment and no idea when it's going to be fixed either. So I'm not in the best of mindsets at the moment, but we're going to power through. How are you?
Jeff, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry you're having a bad weekend. I'm feeling a little bit burnt out myself, although it's just because I was traveling for work for a few days and I don't even know what day it is anymore. And I still have to work tomorrow. So that kind of sucks.
It's a Sunday. What day did you get home from your conference?
I got home yesterday, which is Saturday, at like 5 o'clock, basically. So like most of my day.
Wait. So you were at this conference from what day until what day?
From Tuesday until Saturday. Yeah.
Who does that? Who's a conference like over until Saturday?
Well, I don't want to name any names, but scientists.
I don't understand that. I've never heard of such a thing.
Scientists, like scientific meetings like this, they tend to just try to pack in as much information as possible into as little time as possible. So they're like, really, it's mostly about efficiency, not trying to like make the experience like as comfortable as possible for the attendee. You know what I mean?
I surely do.
It does lead to like a lot of knowledge and learning, but it also leads to exhaustion. So I'm feeling a little tired, but I'm ready to go. I'm excited to talk about some hot topics today. Hot topics. And before we actually get way into it, we should mention a bit of a new release for us here at BANTS, which is a new Spotify playlist that we have put together. It's called What's Good. Jeff, do you want to talk a little bit about this?
Well, you know, Justin, we have been talking, and lots of times when we're out there, we're talking to our fans. They come up to us in the supermarket.
Yeah, we have so many fans. Oh my God,
can we have a photo with you? And you're like, okay, I guess.
They recognize us because we have posted photos of ourselves.
So many. Everyone knows exactly what we look like. But people often say, you know, I forgot what songs or what media you were talking about. So, like, where can I find it? So I believe it was you. Had the brilliant idea of putting it together as a playlist on Spotify.
That is exactly right. So we put together a Spotify playlist, which has brand new, beautiful album art made by Jeff himself.
Mm.
And it is currently up on our Spotify page. We'll put a link in the show notes. So, you know, if you want to stay up to date on what's good in music,
you got to give it a listen. There's some good stuff on there. I would say it's an eclectic playlist.
It is. Definitely put it on shuffle because sometimes when we recommend an album, we'll recommend like 2 or 3 songs from that album. If you don't want to like listen to like chunks of 3 songs from individual artists, you want to kind of hear everything mashed up, definitely hit that shuffle button. Follow our What's Good playlist on Spotify. We'll put the link in the show notes. So let's dive right into hot topics. Jeff, have you heard of the new film? Because I don't know if you heard, movies are indeed back, and
the movies are back.
Last weekend, the film It Ends With Us, starring Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, premiered in theaters. Have you heard about this film?
I've heard a lot about this film. I have to tell you, my For You page on TikTok has been pretty much nothing but the drama surrounding this movie.
Maybe you've heard too much about this film, because I have.
I learned a lot more than I wanted to, but I gotta tell you one thing before we even get started into this conversation. I have always thought Blake Lively was a little too good at playing Serena van der Woodsen in Gossip Girl. I said, I don't really feel like she's acting that much in this show. And I believe that I was very correct in that feeling that I had when watching that show back in the year 2008.
Okay, Brandy would kill me for asking this question, but who's like the opposite, like the foil to van der Woodsen in Gossip Girl?
Brandy's gonna kill you? Do you feel me reaching through the screen right now and strangling you?
Just remind me, okay, because I have a point.
Meester.
I know the actor's name, but the character.
Oh, Blair.
Okay, Blair, yes. So I've read that, maybe kind of like agreeing with you here, that Blake Lively is actually more of the Blair, and Leighton Meester is more of the other character, whose name I'm also forgetting. Serena.
It's Serena Vanderwoodson. And what is Blair's last name? Hold on, it's going to come back to
Waldorf.
Me. Yeah. Waldorf, yes, of course. How could I forget? As like Astoria, Waldorf Astoria.
Right.
Actually, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I understand the spirit in which you're saying it as someone who is a straight boy who has probably never watched Gossip Girl. I agree with the spirit of what you're saying.
Watched a shocking amount of it because of Brandy, yeah.
Well, probably not too closely then, because I wouldn't say that either of them are like nice, kind people in that show. I would say that they're true. All kind of like conniving and backstabbers and social climbers.
Absolutely. But I think Serena is at least...
But I do know what you mean.
She's at least like... she's supposed to be the audience surrogate, at least at the beginning, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. I do want to ask you, you said how many episodes would you say you've watched of Gossip Girl?
Oh, God. Okay, so Brandy, occasionally she does a rewatch, and I will like parallel play on the side while she's also watching Gossip Girl, you know? Like I will be like playing a video game or reading. So I probably like half watch the season, you know?
Okay.
So like maybe half of the show, I would say. But I'm not paying close attention. I couldn't tell you like the fine details of the plot.
Yeah, I'm looking up right now how many seasons it was, because I definitely fell off. It has 6 seasons. Okay, did you ever see the finale? Do you know how it ends and who Gossip Girl is revealed to be? This
is something that I do know. And Brandy always stops watching by the time the finale comes around because she's like, it just gets bad. Like it starts to get bad. And the reveal of who Gossip Girl is, which is, what the fuck is his name?
Dan Humphries.
Dan Humphries is Gossip Girl. Spoiler alert for like a 15-year-old show.
Or damn Humphrey.
He is Gossip Girl, and it makes no fucking sense. Like, there is no logistical consistency to him being Gossip Girl. It makes absolutely no sense. So, like, every time that Brandy rewatches, she's like, God, this, like, first season episode makes no sense because Dan is Gossip Girl. This season 3 episode makes no sense because Dan is Gossip Girl. So...
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
That always bothered me, too. It's on everyone's favorite streamer, Max. Now that we're talking about it, I'm like, maybe I should give that a little watch, too. We did talk about Succession the other day, and I am rewatching Succession and really enjoying it again.
I'm very glad to hear that.
Yeah, fuck off. Logan Roy. Point for me.
Okay, it ends with us.
It ends with us. You know, Justin, I would say that the cultural lexicon ends with us. Would you agree?
I would. This film had controversy associated with it before it was even a film.
Yeah.
Because this book is written by Colleen Hoover, who, I don't know, is, I guess, known for her, like, romance novels, generally. And it also deals with themes of domestic violence. I have never read the book, but there was a lot of discourse when it first came out that it potentially, like, glorified aspects of domestic violence.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. I don't really have a take on that. But there was some discourse about that. Have you read the book, Jeff?
I have not read the book. Famously, I have a bad brain and I'm not a big reader.
Gotta ask you every time, though.
Yep, you do. And every time I disappoint you, I can see the crestfallen expression across your face.
But yeah, I have read Colleen Hoover's maybe most popular book, Verity, or at least maybe second popular book after It Ends With Us. And I gotta tell you, Jeff, it was garbage.
Is that the one that our friend was reading? About the guy who pretends to be dead or something?
Yeah, yes, it is the one.
No way! Okay, wait, yes. We're absolutely never opening that book.
Yeah, it was really bad. So, like, I don't know, my feeling was always like, I feel like Colleen Hoover may not be the best person to, like, untangle these complex issues. So
right.
I can imagine if somebody read the book and maybe
have the range.
Yeah, potentially. So I thought that maybe it's not coming out of nowhere that this book was controversial. And then of course you got Blake Lively producing an adaptation of it. And it opened last week. It opened to a respectable 50 million in a domestic opening weekend, second after Deadpool and Wolverine. And that made some headlines because obviously Blake Lively is married to Ryan Reynolds, so like them being at the top of the box office is like great for Swifties everywhere. They love that shit.
Point for you. That's funny.
After the movie, actually before the movie came out, there was some TikTok conspiracy theory shit going on. Because...
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. You have to stop framing every rumor, hot take, discourse, to use your favorite word, discussion that occurs on TikTok as like garbage and
nonsense.
No.
Here's the thing about TikTok conspiracy theories. Sometimes they are correct, and it seems like in this scenario it was correct, and that's because
I'm telling you gotta read the blogs.
There has been a lot of reporting about it, but I'm just reporting. I think that this really bubbled up because people were like over analyzing the press tour, because people love Colleen Hoover, the Book Talk kids, and people love Blake Lively, right? There's like the Venn diagram of Blake Lively fans and Taylor Swift fans is a circle. So like people love Blake Lively, and they've been analyzing the press tour for this film, and the co-stars Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively have not been appearing together. Baldoni really hasn't been appearing in many interviews at all.
Yeah.
Which is very odd. There's no like group photo ops, which is odd considering these are the two co-stars. After that, the Hollywood Reporter reported that potentially, allegedly, there was a second cut of the film that was made not by the director Baldoni, but by the editor of Deadpool and Wolverine, who Lively knows through her relationship with Ryan Reynolds. And allegedly, Ryan Reynolds also rewrote a chunk of dialogue during like a very impactful scene of the film. This has all been reported now by like a very legitimate source, Hollywood Reporter. But this is all alleged still at this point. More recently, Baldoni hired a PR crisis manager, the same person who represented Johnny Depp during his domestic violence trial. So this has like, there's a lot of things going on here, right?
There really are.
Jeff, what are your thoughts on this now that you've seen this TikTok conspiracy bubble out into real life?
Well, I'm again going to rebuke the word conspiracy here, because people reporting early who aren't journalists is not people conspiring to do anything with malice or the negligence of integrity.
Whoa, a conspiracy theory is not people conspiring. It is people theorizing about a conspiracy that other people are committing. So that's what I'm saying people on TikTok are doing.
That doesn't even apply here. What would the conspiracy be? That people are going to try to take down this movie because they just decided?
No, the conspiracy theory is that there was a rift that is being like covered up in the press because these two actors are not appearing with each other. That's the theory.
Yeah, but that's not a conspiracy. That's not a conspiracy.
Okay, sorry. Then it's just theorizing. It's wild speculation that was confirmed by reporting.
Rumors and the nastiness.
Yes. So what do you think of all of this?
I do have a lot of thoughts about this because it's really interesting for multiple reasons. The first is Blake Lively has a history that I have witnessed as someone who's like observant, who has two eyes and watches celebrity interviews, and has seen her over the years with various different castmates exhibiting what can only be described as like high school mean girl behavior. There are often not photos of an entire cast together with casts that Blake Lively is a part of. She is like known in the blind items too to basically be a diva and to be just difficult to work with. And I do think that she's been in the game a long time. She is a Nepo baby. I think that she started off with like a step above everybody else in her like kind of peer group.
The dark twin of Dakota Johnson.
The dark twin of Dakota Johnson. You know, I'm the first to be like, oh, like, just admit you hate women. You know what I mean? Just like, this is just like misogyny, but I know mean girl behavior when I see it, and she has exhibited it. And like Leighton Meester, who is like widely reported to be like one of the sweetest people in Hollywood and multifaceted, multi-talented, and she just like they just really did not get along on the set of Gossip Girl. There were other actors who were on Gossip Girl who were fired or allegedly like refused to film with them because she didn't like their vision or didn't think they were serious or committed. So I was not surprised to hear about this, especially given that she was a producer on the film. I think that she might not really understand the difference between producing a film and directing a film, because it sounds like she was really trying to do both. And there's also lots of blind items about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds having like a kind of bizarre codependent type of relationship. And so it also didn't surprise me to hear, you know, allegedly that he was putting his 2 cents in on the movie where he received no kind of credit and had no stakes in the game and was just like stepping on the toes of this man who was doing double duty as a director and an actor. I do know that he was having like an issue with his mental health after this because he was, or towards the end of the filming, because he was so, aside from all the like emotional stuff that allegedly occurred between the cast, you know, being a director of a film and being a lead actor in it, I can imagine is extremely exhausting and taxing.
As somebody who has not really been following Lively's career up until this point, my initial thoughts on this were like, Not a good look for Baldoni to be hiring the Johnny Depp crisis manager. Like, that seems like a bad sign for him, right?
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot to even mention that.
Yeah, I don't really have a strong feeling about Blake Lively. That is until there was this other interview that surfaced recently. Weirdly timed, I will say, that this happened to surface, because this interview from 2016, which is an interview between Blake Lively, she's being interviewed alongside Parker Posey, and they are promoting a film, Cafe Society, which is, importantly, a Woody Allen film.
Mm-hmm.
Noted abuser, Woody Allen.
Noted abuser, noted daughter fucker.
She's being interviewed by a Norwegian interviewer called, and I'm going to get this wrong, so apologies, Kirsty Fla, I believe. And in this interview, the interviewer congratulates Lively on her, quote, little bump, end quote. And this is right after Lively had publicly announced that she was pregnant with her and Ryan Reynolds' second child. And Blake Lively basically responded, congrats on your little bump. And then she proceeds to have a 5-minute long conversation with Parker Posey where she kind of accuses the interviewer of sexism. Paraphrasing here.
Yep.
Kind of comes off as just rude.
Very.
This interview was posted by the interviewer, Kirsty Fla, on her YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
She later gave an interview with the Daily Mail, which is a trash tabloid institution, to be clear. They have a lot of bad content there.
Oh, definitely.
But in that interview...
Wide readership, though.
Wide readership. And in that interview, Fla said that at the time she was actually dealing with the trauma of not being able to conceive. So the comment that Lively made at her was particularly hurtful. And she apparently still thinks about that as a really traumatic interview in her career. The timing of the release of this interview, or at least the resurfacing of this interview, along with the fact that Fla has publicly supported Johnny Depp in his defamation trial against Amber Heard, is
I did not know
making
that
people
part.
speculate wildly, that there might be some relationship between Baldoni, the star of It Ends With Us, and the interviewer. This is just so messy and such a twisted web. It really feels like underbelly of Hollywood type stuff.
It is very messy. I'll say, obviously, I'm sure that Blake Lively didn't know anything about the interviewer's issue conceiving, nor should she, and that's why we don't say shit like that to people. Because you just don't know what other people are dealing with.
Unless you publicly announce it to the world that you're pregnant.
Exactly.
I do think that it's weird if you sidetrack an interview about your film with your pregnancy, but as a hello, congrats on your pregnancy that you just announced thing. I do think that it's a little bit odd or out of pocket to immediately jab back in that aggressive way Lively did. It feels like weaponizing feminism for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? Being a mean girl, basically. Yeah.
Well, all I'll say is I'm going to refer to the Venn diagram you said earlier. That's that.
Yeah.
It absolutely did feel like that. It felt like a real reach on the part of Ms. Lively to turn this into, oh, well, they wouldn't...
Yeah, I think the interviewer asked her a question about the
costumes,
outfits. Yeah.
Which, it was a period piece, to be clear, the film that she and Parker Posey were at that interview for, and the costumes were kind of central to points in the plot. So it made sense to ask about it, especially when you consider that Fla is actually, she started her career being a fashion journalist. So I'm sure that her press team knew that this woman had an interest in fashion journalism, and that's where she kind of sowed her oats. So it's just even more wild that Blake either wasn't prepared or was being too much of a jerk to think about that.
I don't really feel very strongly about either side, quote unquote. I don't think I have enough information to know really if somebody has really been wronged in this situation. The only real concrete thing that's happened is that Baldoni has hired this crisis manager. That's really it.
This part I really didn't know, so this is interesting.
That's really the only hard thing that we have to base this recent alleged rift on.
Well, that, and in the interviews, the few that they did do together, he's rolling his eyes while she's talking.
People not getting along, that's what I was getting to. Press junkets are very exhausting. So there have been press junkets of many successful movies where these types of rifts haven't happened, where people have been kind of rude or haven't gotten along with their co-stars. And it's not that uncommon in the biz.
How about Don't Worry, Darling?
That's, I think, the closest example in recent memory that we have of something like this was Don't Worry, Darling. And I think that actually improved that movie's performance at the box office.
No, it definitely did. Nobody was interested before any of the scandal happened, because it sounds like it was not that great of a movie. I still can't get over this.
Is this Spitgate?
Yeah. Spitgate. I still can't get over that. It's so clear to me that Harry Styles
this
just like
is a conspiracy
spittled.
Theory. This is a conspiracy
This
theory.
is not a conspiracy. This is I've
Harry
watched
Styles
it with my
did
own
not
eyes.
Spit. You're talking about it like it's the Zapruder film or something. He did not spit.
Justin, did you watch the video?
I've seen it so many times. Yeah, of course I have.
I can't understand how you think that.
Because, like, if Chris Pine was spat on, he would not have reacted the way that he did.
How do you know how he would have reacted?
Because anybody who gets spat on reacts in a certain way. Like, it's a defensive thing. It's a knee-jerk reaction.
People do not react the same way, especially when they know that they're being filmed and watched by hundreds of people in live time.
Do you spit on somebody when you know that you're being filmed and watched by hundreds of people in live time? No, that's my whole point.
No, Justin. No. Okay, we're not talking about reactions. We're talking about, did you see a white glob go flying from Harry Styles' mouth?
You are talking
Chris
about
Pine's
this
face?
Like it's like JFK assassination shit. This is why I make the conspiracy theory comparison.
This is my Fine, this is a conspiracy. This is my JFK assassination. Harry Styles spit in Chris Pine's face. Chris Pine's reaction was so weird and wouldn't have made sense in any other setting than being spat upon.
Stay tuned for our Spitgate breakdown in our next episode.
Yeah, and we're going to put the video in the show notes because everybody
We will put the video. And
I'm posting the video on our Instagram account too because I want everybody to see, and I'm going to make it a poll. Interactive poll.
That's a great idea.
You let me know, our listeners dear, if you think that Harry Styles spit in the face of Chris Pine. And Justin, you're going to be proven wrong!
Well, I'm glad that an Instagram poll is actually like the most objective and scientific way to decide this conflict.
Yes, everyone, pause right now and go to our Instagram. It's at BANTSPod, BANTSPOD. And if you're not following us already, please follow. And I want you to watch the video.
Tell us what you think.
It is so clear. And just answer that little poll. It'll take you about 3 seconds, then come back. We'll wait. Well, thank you so much for taking our poll. I really appreciate you putting in the time. And Justin, I hope that you're also checking in live time and seeing that you're absolutely wrong.
You know that I will be. So yeah, I think that's it for It Ends With Us. Like, we haven't really gotten a conclusion to the story yet, but we will definitely be updating you all when we hear more because it's fascinating.
One more thing I want to say about this movie. The way that it's been marketed is very out of sorts with the subject material, which seems very serious. I mean, not seems very serious, is extremely serious. Domestic violence is an extremely serious topic, which shouldn't be made light of, but there is a very odd juxtaposition between the subject matter and the way that Blake has been doing interviews, telling people to wear florals, because the character in the book is a florist. Blake is like, you need to get all your girlfriends and wear your florals and go out and see the movie. It's really great. But also one of the trailers I saw from it, which I think has since been pulled, and now only the more serious looking dark trailer is out there. It looked like it was a rom-com.
That's similar to the controversy about the original novel, right? Where it toes the line between being like a romance and something more serious.
Right.
I mean, I haven't read the book, haven't watched the movie, so I don't really have a take. I'm definitely not going to read the book. If Brandy wants to go see the movie, I might see it because she has read the book.
Sunny Hostin. Do you know who that is?
No idea what you're saying.
Sunny Hostin, host of The View. So she's an attorney and she is a journalist and she's now on The View. Okay. I don't know if you ever watched that.
I'm familiar with The View, yeah.
But she is funny because she is, she's an attorney and she always does her homework, and she's every time a guest comes on to promote their book, she always is and I read the book, by the way. It's just a little bit that she's not actually doing as a bit, but is very funny.
Let's move on to some similarly depressing topics. I would say much more depressing, actually. Jeff, you're familiar with the fact that Chandler Bing actor Matthew Perry passed away last year of a ketamine overdose.
Wait, you're familiar with this? As if it was not dominating the headlines for 3 days.
It's one of the biggest news stories of the last year, probably, that he passed.
The chokehold that Friends has on our culture is really something fascinating.
I watched all of Friends. The timing was, uncanny. I had just finished watching all of Friends for the first time with Brandy a month before he passed. So I didn't really have a relationship with the show when I was growing up. But I do
Same.
think that like Matthew Perry is probably the best part of that show. Like Chandler Bing.
What about Lisa Kudrow?
Oh yeah. Well,
Lisa
you're right.
Kudrow, Justin. Lisa
Kudrow, underrated.
Absolutely.
Chandler Bing, obviously problematic character like every single other character in Friends, but he's funny. Like Matthew Perry is very funny and he's very endearing.
Absolutely. Most of the cast was really funny.
Yeah, I think everybody on that cast is funny, but I think of all of them, Matt Perry and Lisa Kudrow, two of the funniest, I think.
Standouts.
Yeah. So it did hit me when this news broke, and I think it was also in the middle of, or just after he finished promoting his memoir, which was all about his struggle with drug addiction. On one hand, it was just really tragic that this man succumbed again to drug addiction after he had just gone through this docket of promoting his book.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it really kind of like undermined the impact of the memoir because, you know, it seemed like he was clean and like he was doing a lot better. The Friends stars had just gotten together and filmed a reunion special for the first time since the show ended.
Right.
So it really seemed like he was like on the path to recovery and doing very well. So it was disappointing, and it was kind of unclear whether was he prescribed ketamine. Reports were that he died of a ketamine overdose and drowned in his hot tub. And it was unclear whether he was prescribed the ketamine that led to his death, whether he bought it, you know, what was his relationship with the drug. Last week, 5 arrests were made in this death. Among the arrests were 2 doctors.
Yep.
A drug trafficker.
Known drug trafficker.
And Matthew Perry's live-in assistant. They were all charged with various charges related to his death. So this is a wild story. So according to the Variety article that I'm going to be reading from, and I'll put the link in the show notes, over a 2-month period in the fall of 2023, there were 20 vials of ketamine given to Perry in exchange for $55,000 in cash. During that time, his doctor mocked him in a text message saying, "I wonder how much this moron will pay." The cops, the Drug Enforcement Administration, said that the doctors charged him $2,000 for a vial of ketamine. That cost the doctor $12. So they were like upcharging him an insane amount for this ketamine. According to what the police have said with regard to these arrests, his addiction to ketamine got worse and worse to the point where he ended up going out to a drug dealer to try to find more of it. And that's how this illegal drug dealer came into play. Apparently her nickname was the Ketamine Queen, and she is the one who sold Perry the batch of ketamine that resulted in his death. So after he passed away, the drug dealer texted like her broker who had given Matt Perry the ketamine, like, delete all of our messages. Matt Perry's doctor falsified medical records and his notes to try to make this like unnecessary sale of like super expensive ketamine look legitimate.
Unreal.
And that's why they've all been arrested. So this is like really adding a lot of context to the story. It seems, you know, my opinion here, obviously, this is all my opinion. You go to the doctor to try to like have somebody who is committed to the Hippocratic Oath, like they're just trying to help you, not somebody who's trying to exploit you for your money or exploit your addiction to make a profit. And that is not what it seems like happened here between Matt Perry and his doctor. And the live-in assistant is also shocking. There's some stories in the Variety article about how the doctor left the assistant with additional vials of ketamine.
Yep.
And the assistant is, of course, not like a licensed medical professional of any kind. And I think there are implications there that maybe the assistant was also like administering ketamine to Perry. It's just very sad that this man who was like really struggling with addiction was surrounded with all these people who were just like opportunists, you know?
I wonder that often because, you know, when this podcast like really makes it big, we're going to be fucking loaded, and we're going to have to start questioning like everybody around us. We have to understand what their motivations are, and any new people who try to like come into the fold, we gotta try to keep a healthy distance and skepticism about us. So remember that.
A wise man once told me, "No new friends."
I don't know who said that, but they are fucking smart. That's brilliant, I think.
Yeah.
No, but this is really sad, and I agree completely with you. The worst part about this is it could discredit like the use of ketamine as like an actual medicinal therapy for people who need that. Add more fuel to the fire of people who are like trying to say that this is just like drug use and it's not warranted or not necessary, when there's like lots of evidence that ketamine under the right conditions and administered by medical professionals is therapeutic, especially for people who have like PTSD and things like that.
Right.
So it's really tough that this is an example where that was exploited. And I have to say this too. I don't understand criminals who are implicating themselves in text messages. Sending a text message that says delete all our messages? That's crazy.
It's like it's comic. It's comic. It reminds me of like Breaking Bad episodes when you've got these like comically inept, criminals who just don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yep, that and weeds, same vibe there with the
It's like you're selling ketamine to like one of the most famous people in the United States and you think you're going to get away with it because you texted your partner to delete all the text messages.
The ineptitude is really fascinating. People need to, you got to get old school when you're doing crime. There's no writing. We're not texting anything.
We do not condone any of these methods, for the record, Jeff, right?
We don't condone crime, but if we did condone it...
Hypothetically, we're not writing anything down. No text messages, no letters by post.
Nothing of the sort needs to be recorded in any way, shape, or form. Guess what we're doing? We're getting track phones, Justin. We're going back to the early 2000s. We're going to Walmart. We're going to pick up a ton of track phones, just like they did in The Wire. And that is how you're going to be calling each other. And guess what? Every couple of weeks, you throw the phone away. You burn it.
I have a couple of really interesting notes here.
Okay.
The first is that this is all happening in the broader context, like you mentioned, of ketamine being studied right now for use in people who have depression, right?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it's actually not FDA approved for depression, but a lot of doctors are prescribing it off-label for that purpose.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that is essentially what led to this relationship between Perry and his doctor.
Right. And it's great that doctors and physicians have the ability to prescribe things off-label. And this now puts into jeopardy their ability to do that.
It's a gray area because ketamine also has very important on-label uses, right? It's still an anesthetic. So you don't want to over-regulate it to the point where it's difficult for people to get a handle on it. But I do think that we should at least, I think, in my opinion, research is really the way, right? Because the faster that research is done about its effects on depression, the faster it can be approved for that use. We should also be collecting information about how many patients are being prescribed this off-label. How much is this being done, right? Is this an exception to the rule, or is this a rampant problem in the industry, right? And there actually is a really great podcast episode from Search Engine about ketamine and with regards to Elon Musk.
Who?
I believe the question is what happened to Elon or something like that. Because Elon's always been kind of a sketchy dude, but he has really gone off the deep end the last few years.
He's fully Kanye'd.
Yeah, and there's a couple of theories why that they present in the podcast. The first one, really paraphrasing, is that he thinks that we're all living in a simulation. Classic.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is that he's very addicted to ketamine. These are two, I think, very plausible theories. I highly recommend you listen to that episode. And on the topic of Search Engine, the most recent episode was a insane episode with regards to your advice to criminals, which again, do not condone. But recently there was a company that was a strictly criminal enterprise company that made fully encrypted phones where criminals would be able to text and call each other in a fully encrypted way. Little did those criminals know that it was the biggest sting operation of all time, and the company was literally the FBI. And some of the most intense drug stings that have ever happened as a result of this completely fake company. It's a wild story.
This is going to become a Focus Features film in, I would say, 5 years.
It is a wild story. I can't wait to see that movie, honestly.
Yeah. So 5 years, 2029, August 2029, Focus Features will be unveiling a movie about this. And I bet, who do you think is going to be in there? I'm going to say Matt Damon.
Yes, I was going to say Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, both in it. Both in it. I think Dave Bautista will be the crime lord.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. That's good casting.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, should we become casting agents? Should we abandon our careers and become Hollywood execs?
That's what we already did we were like, should we become podcasters? What's stopping us?
Literally, let's do it. We're moving to Hollywood. We're going to Hollywood, baby.
Speaking of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break and we're going to come back with our hottest takes on film. Are you excited?
You know what? I am excited. I am curious to see what you're going to talk about. I'm also curious to see what I'm going to talk about because I haven't prepared. I didn't do my homework this week.
We will be right back.
Yes, can't wait to see how this goes.
And we're back.
And Justin, for this week's main topic, there wasn't a ton going on in culture. The Olympics ended last week. We actually never really talked about that too much, which is okay, because I don't think there was that much left to say, really.
There wasn't a lot happening this week that we wanted to talk about, so we decided to debut a new segment, which is in the theme of our previous temperature-related segments.
We love the temperature.
It's called Hot Takes.
Hot Take. Oh.
Each of us are going to discuss a piece of work, a piece of media that we love, but that the culture doesn't really love so much. Things that we like that might be considered hot takes. And we're focusing in this first episode of Hot Takes on films that we really love.
Films. You say film in such an interesting way. I really love it. It just like triggers my echolalia. I'm like, I gotta say it again. Film. Say it again. Say it.
I just think film is such like a... it's such a better word than movie, you know?
There's such a fascinating lilt that you put on it. I just really like it.
I can't tell if you're just making fun of me and I just say it in a bizarre way or something.
No, I'm being completely honest with you. I really like the way you say film.
Happy to hear it.
I just tried to say it like you. Do you hear that? Okay, I say film, you say film.
Yeah, I guess I give it like an extra. I give it like an extra syllable.
It's like a half syllable. It's just like a slight intonation.
It's like a little bit of a pause. Yeah.
It's like when we jokingly say like we want to go home.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Justin, I would like to know, what's your hot take film that you think is really great and that, let's not even say the culture didn't vibe with, let's just say they didn't get it. Because, like, we know culture, and if we think it's good, it is.
So true, Jeff. So true. Well, this week, a new movie in the Alien series premiered in theaters, Alien Romulus. I'm very excited to see it. I love that series. And it made me think, because we were planning on doing this segment, about the 2012 film Prometheus, which is a kind of prequel to Alien. It was directed by Ridley Scott. This was a fascinating film. So it came out during like a very important time of my life. I was 20, I believe, when it came out. It wasn't marketed as an Alien film, which I think was actually a boon for me because I actually hadn't watched any of the Alien series at that point.
Really?
It was just like this big, epic-seeming sci-fi film directed by Ridley Scott, who's like one of these all-time greats. As like a sci-fi nerd, I was like, I gotta watch this. The actors in it, Charlize Theron, Michael Fassbender, like the talent in this film,
love that,
was wild.
I'm also so thankful to you for saying Theron.
Is it a Theron?
People say Theron, Charlize Theron. I'm like, that's not her name.
I've just always heard it that way. I don't know. Never thought about it.
What, Theron?
Yeah, Theron. She's New Zealand. She's a Kiwi, right?
South African.
South African. That's what it is.
It's not Theron, but people always say Theron.
Yeah, she has such an interesting accent. The star power in this film was great. So, like, I was excited to watch this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the premise of Prometheus is basically that there are these, like, near-future scientists on Earth, and they find basically a map in the stars to proof of alien life. And, of course, because this is, like, a sci-fi movie, there is, like, a rich, ominous benefactor company that spends bajillions of dollars to send a team of, like, expert scientists to this distant planet where they discover some nightmare scenarios, basically. It's a pseudo-horror movie. Now, when it premiered, there was a lot of different criticisms of it, right? The first was that it was an Alien film. And I think anybody who was like really online or really tuned into the franchise at that point knew it from the trailers, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody was kind of like, another like prequel movie, another franchise film, you know, and it had all that baggage of it had to be like an Alien movie. And I don't know how familiar you are with the franchise, but it already kind of had like a rocky road up until Prometheus. Like,
well, what I know, I think, is that Alien is just like widely agreed to be like one of the best horror and sci-fi movies, period.
I would agree with that.
And that some of the sequels were a little bit out of the style or out of the spirit of the first film and became kind of like campy 80s action movies.
Yeah, well, that's actually really interesting take. Okay, I agree with you, actually. And I think that's also a hot take, because a lot of people's favorite Alien film is the second one, Aliens, with an S. And that was directed by James Cameron. So it's very much in the same category as, like, the Terminator films, where it's, like, big, like action movie, machine guns, like soldiers with like sweaty muscles shooting flamethrowers at monsters, like that kind of a vibe, you know? Very like 80s film core, which is actually like when I first watched the first Alien, I was surprised at how like quiet and like terrifying and just like really creepy and spooky it was, you know?
Yeah.
And then the other two films following Aliens, so Alien 3, which was insanely the directorial debut of David Fincher. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not.
His first ever film, and he was brought in by the studio like last second, midway through production, because the previous director fell out and there was so much drama behind the scenes. Fincher is sent to disown the film. Still an interesting movie. And then there was a completely batshit Alien Resurrection, where the character played by Sigourney Weaver Ripley is like literally resurrected. She's like cloned.
Yeah.
I still have not seen that one, for the record. But there was like already a lot of complicated feelings about the Alien franchise. And I think that the fan base was really split between people who really liked that first Alien movie, which was like horror, sci-fi, low-key, and that second Aliens movie, which was like balls to the wall action, Terminator 2 type stuff.
Yeah.
I think that that already led to a foundation where people were not in the right place to receive this film.
Okay.
And Ridley Scott was returning to the franchise. He directed the first Alien movie. And I think that a lot of people took that to mean like we could be returning to that old style.
Yeah, they're thinking return to form.
Right. Instead, Ridley Scott did something absolutely wild and, in my opinion, great. The alien creatures, the xenomorphs that are present in all of the Alien films, are like not really present in Prometheus until the very end. You know, we see some facehuggers in the middle. It's really just like this like black infectious goose from which the xenomorphs arise that we see, right? And the movie isn't as much about the xenomorphs as it was in those earlier films. The themes really have to do with this like precursor race that designed humans in their image, right? The main character, or at least to me, the main character, played by Michael Fassbender, he's an android who has similarly been designed by humans in our image.
Right.
It really has a lot to do with themes of like creation and destruction. And it was also just like a gorgeous film. Special effects are great. H.R. Geiger, who designed the original Xenomorph, he has like these super like Freudian psychosexual designs for these monsters, right? That's always been a big point.
Excuse me? Psychosexual?
Yeah, like the Xenomorph looks like a dick. Have you never heard about it? This is like a whole thing, yeah.
No, I didn't know this.
The initial Alien is all about like sexual anxiety and anxiety about pregnancy. Because the chest burster, it's literally like you're giving birth to a creature, yeah.
Okay.
And Prometheus has a literal, like, for lack of a better word, like abortion scene in it. So a lot of those same themes are being touched on in Prometheus.
Oh, interesting.
On top of these, and you know, those kind of dovetail with these new themes of like creation, right? Because you give birth to a child, it's a different relationship maybe than like the relationship that an android has to its creator, like a god. So it's kind of like contrasting these two relationships. Very cool, like, themes going on. The other criticism that people have about the movie is that, like, the characters are very stupid, right? They come across this, like, black goo contagion thing, and they're not very, like, smart about the fact that they come into contact with it and they're still having sex with people, for example, or, like, talking to other people without quarantining. And, of course, you know, most of them die by the end.
This is, like, a terrible flashback to dark
Exactly.
times.
Now that we've all lived through COVID, I think we all know that people are fucking dumb. Also, I'm not somebody to, like, nitpick a film based on like little tiny logistical details like that. Like, I'm a big picture guy.
Aren't you?
Well, I will nitpick them if they're like thematically incoherent or not cohesive, right? Like, I want there to be like big ideas and I want it to like commit to those ideas. And if they have to twist the plot in a couple places to make those ideas come to fruition, I'm all for it, you know?
You're okay with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that wasn't really an issue for me. I will say that one of the cultural legacies of this film is there's this one scene where there's this big, like, donut-shaped spaceship. It's, like, massive, gargantuan. And it's rolling, and it's about to crush these two spacefarers, right? Charlize Theron's character and one other astronaut. And they're seemingly, like, running straight in the path of the circular spaceship instead of just running to the side. Do you remember, like, in Game of Thrones when Rickon was just running straight from...
I thought, that's immediately what I thought
Everybody was like, okay, he went to the Prometheus school of running. Okay. So everybody was, like, shitting on Prometheus for this. If you actually, like, watch the movie and like see it in context, you can actually see that they do eventually like run to the side. Like it's always taken out of context. First of all, there's conveniences that are made in film all the time just for the sake of like readability. You know, people don't act in movies like they would in real life, but also people in real life act really stupid all the time. So like if you're scared and you're running away from a giant thing, maybe you don't run to the side. There's actually a great video kind of debunking this whole just run to the side thing that I'll link in the show notes. But people were kind of like clowning on it for that reason as well. And I think that's bogus. So
clowning. Whoa, you just said a sentence that had two blasts from the past. Clowning on them and then bogus.
That's how strongly I feel. I've gone back in time.
Wow, I love that. Clowning and bogus. I gotta write that
in my
down.
opinion, and this is like maybe a hot take, there's been 2 more Alien films since then. There's been Alien Covenant was the one after that. And in that one, it was also directed by Ridley Scott, but he was basically trying to please the people who like Prometheus and do more like alien stuff. So there was like a lot more xenomorphs. And it was still, I think, a good movie, but it landed somewhere in the middle. It was a camel.
Less good.
Yeah, it was less good.
It was a camel.
Romulus remains to be seen. But in my opinion, I think that this might be like the second or third best Alien film. Alien, the first one, is like easily the best, no question.
Sure.
Aliens depends on my mood. Like if I'm in the mood for an action thrill ride, I might like it better than Prometheus, but like 9 times out of 10, I'm still reaching for Prometheus.
Yeah, you need the plot point.
I want to feel like I'm smart, even if the movie isn't that smart. You know what I mean? I need a little bit to think about.
Well, Justin, you always have the need to make yourself feel smart. That's why you always talk about going to Columbia.
So many times I've mentioned it, yeah.
You really have. It's getting disgusting.
But yeah, so justice for Prometheus. I think you should rewatch it. Like if you were part of, like on the internet around that time.
I've never watched Prometheus. I've watched Alien.
Alien
and that was it.
Is so good.
It was too scary. Too scary, Justin. I can't do them.
I would be down to watch Alien Romulus and talk about it on the pod if you would be down. Do you think you can handle
Justin, it? Justin, you already got me to watch Longlegs. I don't know about another
and you
horror
loved
movie
it.
this
You loved
summer.
it.
I did love it, but I think that was a very lucky and fortunate situation.
Okay, we'll talk more off the pod.
I'm very nervous. Okay. I get scared easily.
Okay, so that's my spiel about Prometheus. Jeff.
Hold on. I got a couple follow-up questions here.
Okay.
If you had your druthers about you, what would the next Alien movie, this Alien Romulus, be about? Or what would be an interesting aspect of this world that they've built? What would be an interesting aspect to focus in on for another film if you got to decide?
Well, as a Prometheus apologist, I would love to see like the finale, because Covenant was kind of like the second installment of a new trilogy, like Prometheus, Covenant, and then a third film that would like lead into Alien.
Okay.
That has always been what Ridley Scott has discussed as his like arc, but Covenant underperformed, so it seems like, and then Disney bought Fox, which is the producer of the Alien movies.
Okay.
So it seems like that strategy may have changed. Like my dream film would be a Ridley Scott directed Prometheus 3, basically. Michael Fassbender's character is just really fascinating, and he never really got a concrete ending in that arc of films. I think he's really the main character. So yeah, I would love to see a Prometheus 3, but that's just me. Some of the takes I've heard about Romulus is that it's a little bit too nostalgic about that original Alien, and maybe there's not a lot of new stuff going on in that film.
Okay.
But that being said, I haven't watched it yet, and I've seen a lot of takes that contradict with that too, so I'm excited to see how it is.
When does it come out?
Romulus is out this weekend. It just premiered on Friday. Yeah.
Premiere!
That's right.
Do you know how it did? Did they have the box office totals yet?
I don't know the exact box office totals, but I think it has exceeded expectations.
Oh, wait. I keep thinking that it's Monday. It is not. It is fully a Sunday Eve.
I think it has exceeded expectations. This film was actually intended to be a direct-to-Hulu release, and then they switched it to theaters, I think, because of positive test screenings.
Theater.
So that's another word that I say kind of weird, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Theater and film.
I'm optimistic about the state of this franchise moving forward based on the performance of Romulus so far.
Well, I'm so encouraged to hear that, because I think if you're gonna fucking world build like all these people want to do and cash in on that all too popular IP, then it's gotta be good.
Might as well be good. Might as well be good.
It's gotta be good. It's gotta be good.
So, Jeff.
Yeah.
I think that some people would call you the king of hot takes.
I think a lot of people would.
Do you have a film that you think is chef's kiss, but other people are not vibing with?
Well, I really do, and I was reminded that not everybody gets it. This past week, when I invited several of our friends over, I think I mentioned this on the last episode, for dinner, and we watched one of my favorite movies, Ma. 2019 film starring Octavia Spencer.
The absolute meme queen, Ma. Yeah.
How often would you say in a month I send a Ma-related meme or reference?
At least like 3 or 4 times a month.
I think that's very accurate. I really love it. Don't make me drink alone. Don't make me drink alone. That's one of my favorite ones to send to you guys.
Tell me about this movie.
Ma, 2019. This movie is, well, I think it's a masterclass in camp comedy. But I think other people think that it's a twisted horror movie.
Yeah, this is such an interesting movie in terms of genre. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think it was marketed. I'll say this before I even get into it. I don't think that all of the people involved in creating this movie and greenlighting it understood what they had on their hands. I choose to view this as a camp comedy classic because it is hilarious. It is extremely absurd, but I think that it was marketed as a horror because I think until very recently, most people in the world didn't even know what the descriptor camp means. So I think that they were like, well, we've got to market this as a horror movie because that's what's going to get butts in seats. So this movie basically, for those who aren't familiar, centers around a woman whose name is Sue Ann, but is later given the nickname Ma. She's played by Octavia Spencer, who you know from so many different things.
An icon.
Oscar-winning actor. She's amazing. Right. Basically, this is a story of a woman who befriends a group of teenagers when they ask her outside of a liquor store to purchase alcohol for them because they're underage.
That's already such a funny premise. Like, it sounds like a comedy when you describe it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then she becomes a little bit paranoid that she could get in trouble for having purchased them the alcohol. So she invites them to her basement to drink there. And her basement eventually becomes like a nightclub of sorts for this group of teenagers and their high school classmates. The movie takes a little bit of turns that you do see coming, and I think they're like very apparent and heavy-handed, again, because I think this is a camp comedy. We start seeing flashbacks of Sue Ann as a child being bullied and taken advantage of in high school, and we start to realize that some of her high school bullies are the parents of the teenagers that she's letting drink in her basement.
Oh, I did not know that detail.
The movie starts to take a turn because this is a story of a woman who's been wronged and is seeking revenge, sweet revenge years later, and using these children as a way to get back at the parents for the bullying. And actually, I should say that part of what I think really turns people off from this is that calling it bullying, what happened to her in high school, is really underselling the trauma of it. It wasn't just that she was bullied or made fun of. It's that it was that, and then there was one inciting incident in which there is a sexual assault perpetrated upon her for the enjoyment, laughter of other people. And she's not privy to it, didn't sign up for it, and so that is really where it's like a little bit dark. This is not just a movie about someone who's bullied in high school for petty things, being petty and taking revenge decades later. This is actually a pretty serious thing that happened to her. But the way that the movie goes about it from there is actually, I think, really funny. I guess I should just say there's some spoilers here. So if you have not watched Ma, Justin's going to tell you where you can skip to right now.
What's up, y'all? Future Justin here. If you want to skip Ma spoilers, you can hop to the timestamp 1:10:30. All right. Take it away, past Jeff.
Thanks, Justin. I can always count on you to let our listeners know. So basically what ends up happening is Sue Ann does not know at first that these kids are in any way related to people that she grew up with or went to high school with, but she starts to realize as they hang out at her house. So she realizes that one of the kids who is like driving all the others around, because he's one of the only ones with a car and a license, is the son of Sue-Ann's high school crush, who played an integral part in this incident where she was basically sexually assaulted. And she sets her sights on getting back at that man in any way possible. But basically, Sue-Ann, aka Ma, starts letting these kids hang out in her basement, and she starts getting music that they like and putting up lights and redecorating her basement basically to furnish it as a nightclub. And this becomes like a regular thing. This becomes like these teenagers like hangout spot on the weekends and after school. They're always like, we're going to Ma's.
New York's hottest club is
New York's hottest club is Ma's. This club has everything. Tiny bathrooms, Ma doing the robot, and wigs.
Wigs.
Part of the hilarity of this movie is that the wigs that Octavia Spencer wears in this film are really top-notch, iconic looks. You could go into any drag bar like in the middle of the country and you would see a queen dressed in an outfit and look from Ma with one of these wigs on. Like, they're iconic. They're usually, like, pretty dated looking. They're usually, like, very, like, 1980s. I guess, like, one of the conceits of this movie is, like, she never really grew up past high school because she was so traumatized by the bullying and stuff.
Yeah.
So the hair is, like, big. It's got, like, the feathered sideburns and stuff. It's great. They're really great cunty looks. I love them. I love it.
Because we've been talking a lot about franchises this episode with Alien, would you be excited for or watch a sequel like a Ma 2? Do you think that's necessary or good?
I should say this. I don't. That's not possible.
Okay.
Because of the way the movie ends. So
okay.
So what happens is, like, she starts, like, showing up at their school, like, in the middle of the day. Another really funny part of this movie is that Ma has a job as, like, a veterinary assistant, like a vet tech, but she's fully bad at her job, does not like animals, and she has a terrible relationship with her boss, who is portrayed by Allison Janney, and she is also so funny in this movie.
This is a comedy cast.
And also wearing hilarious wigs. It's so good. And, like, one of the things I love about this movie is, like, especially towards the end, the same scene, Sue-Ann's wig will be very different. And I think that a lot of people thought that it was, like, poor production quality that allowed that to happen, like, poor continuity. But it was definitely intentional. Like, it's funny. But anyway, so Ma has, like, a job as a vet tech, and she's terrible at her job and hates all the animals. Like, she always calls them, like, little shits and stuff. And she's just, like, always so angry at these animals for no reason. She just, like, fucks off from work. Or, like, her boss is like, you're pissing me off. Leave for the day. I don't want to see you again. And then Ma will just, like, go to the school where all these kids are, like, you know, learning, trying to prepare for college. And she'll just be like, hey, guys, want to go party? And they're like, it's the middle of the day, Ma. Like, we're in school. And she just, like, starts becoming, like, persistent. And she, like, makes, like, a Snapchat account and starts, like, Snapchatting them. That's where the iconic video of Octavia Spencer holding a camera right up close to her face and singing, don't make me drink alone. Don't make me drink alone. Don't make me drink alone. That's where that comes from. And I love it. I love to use it.
Hey, this is Ma. I got a new number. Just picking up a few things. Don't make me drink alone. And I don't want to hear any of this. I have homework crap. Don't make me drink alone. Don't make me drink alone. Don't make me drink alone.
This performance sounds great.
It is really a masterclass in acting because she is so lived in that you really believe that this kooky, crazy person who, like, seems to have, like, split personalities actually is a person who exists. And she goes from being, like, chilling to hilarious, like, in an instant. I've said it many times. Octavia Spencer is, like, one of our greats. And I think that people sleep on her. But she really is turning out in this film.
So what is the ending that makes it so that there can't be a sequel?
Well, so Ma starts being really persistent, as I was saying, with the Snapchat account. She keeps snapping them, sending them photos of her basement empty, being like, come on over. And the kids start getting freaked out about it, and they're like, this is getting weird. Like, it was cool at first that this like nice lady bought us booze and then was letting us drink here, you know, because it was a safe place. But she starts becoming too insistent, and they're like, we gotta like back away. Like, she's getting kind of creepy with the Snapchatting us and messaging us on Instagram and all that. She's tells them that she needs to talk to them in person. And she tells them a full lie, like a crazy story, which is also funny and campy, that she's really ill and she has cancer. You know, she doesn't know how she's going to get through it. And she's just using this, of course, as a ploy to like get the kids to come back to her house.
Right.
I have to say, our friends didn't get this next part, which is the kids are like, oh, well, we've got to go back to your house then. We've got to like keep Ma company. Like, we feel bad for her. We don't know what she's going to do if we're not around. And she like loves doing this. So like, let's just do it. The dialogue and the plot of all this is crazy kooky. It's not realistic, and it's not how people would really act. So it's almost like a satire of like these teen horror flicks where they make every terrible decision possible, ending them up in the final girl type of plot device. I don't think our friends got that. I kept looking at them through the movie, and I was like, are you guys laughing? And they were not laughing, really. There were parts where they laughed, but I don't think they got it. I want them to get it. I want everyone to get this movie. It's really good. Anyway, they had this big party, the return to Maz. Then she, like, drugs the punch that she makes.
Okay.
Because she's like, I'm going to get these kids and, like, torture them. To get back at their parents for these horrible things.
Oh my god.
This is also after Ma sees one of her bullies running, who's the girlfriend of one of the kids in this group. She sees her like running on the side of the road and like intentionally goes up on the curb and runs her over, and then backs up over her because she sees her getting up.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
And it's like,
GIF, yeah.
Yes, and it's so. I think it's really funny because it's like so.
Were you laughing and everybody else was like really serious?
Everybody else was like, "What the fuck, Jeff?" I thought it was so funny.
They just haven't seen the GIFs. They haven't seen the GIFs.
So she has all these booby traps and stuff like set up, and she like chains them by the neck to the poles of her basement and like ties them up on a couch or to a chair or stuff like that. And then she does start doing like some torture stuff that isn't like necessarily campy. This is one of the parts where I think people are like, I don't get this. Because then she starts like doing like horrible shit, like she uses an iron to press onto somebody's chest. Yeah, it's like that part's dark. Why are you laughing?
Because it's extremely like, okay, there's one really interesting thing about this, which is that when I saw the trailers for Ma, part of the like vibe that I got that it was supposed to be like kind of a comedy was that the kids would be like, I don't know, Ma's kind of creepy, and then it would like be like, bah! And it would like cut to Octavia Spencer like looking over her shoulder. And
yes,
like, she's such an unconventional like horror villain, you know?
Yeah.
And then you are describing her basically as like kind of the hero, and almost like you're defending her actions. Is this maybe where the miscommunication is, that like you see her as the hero, whereas other people might see her as the horror movie slasher villain?
I don't like see her as a hero,
or at least like sympathetic.
I do feel some sympathy for her, and
an anti-hero, I guess.
A dark part of me is just like, yeah, fuck them kids.
Yeah,
even though they did nothing, you know?
That's what I think that might be what it is, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, it's more like I'm just there for the drama.
Yeah. Okay, so she starts torturing these kids.
She starts torturing them. One of the kids basically like convinces her that he's still drugged, but he's awake. Surprise! They make their escape out of Ma's basement, but not before accidentally lighting it on fire by knocking over her like mood-setting candles that she has. During the party, some of the kids' parents realize what's going on, realize that it's Ma's house that they've been at. So some of the characters are driving to Ma's house and get there just as the kids are escaping the basement with the police, there to apprehend Ma for all of her misdeeds. And Ma decides, instead of giving up, she's going to crawl into her bed upstairs, where she also, I forgot this part, she does capture the man who she had a big crush on, who actually like participated in her traumatic experience. And he's like chained in her bed. And so she gets in bed with him, and he's dead. and she gets in bed with him, and that's how the movie ends, with her house on fire and her getting into bed with him.
So, not possible for there to be a sequel then.
No,
That's
she's dead.
This reminds me a lot of a film that at least one of our friends did actually really like that came out, I think, last year. Megan. Like, the tone seems similar. Because, like, Megan isn't good because it's surprising or there's twists, right? Like, you know, okay, this robot is going to kill everyone. Like, we know what's going to happen. It's good because of the way that it accomplishes it in, like, such an insane and funny way, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Yes, it is very similar to that tonally. However, because, you know, this is always the thing, and we've talked about this before on the pod, but when you're dealing with, like, these big budget Hollywood movies, there are so many people who have to get on board with it that there are a lot of concessions made in order for anything to get made. Mm-hmm. So what is conceived of by the creators is often very different than the final product, right? I think that there were a lot of changes that were like studio notes, being like, you have to change this doesn't work for us, audiences don't quite get this. Because again, I think this movie was made just before camp became like in the zeitgeist. Like, I think it was like niche communities that were familiar with what that even meant. I would say definitely like the queer community, definitely like cinephiles. I think that they really understood that. Creatives in that way understood it. Fashion, people in fashion. Oh my god, I sound like Aretha Franklin. Fashion, good fashion. So I think that they got it, but I don't think that was like in the zeitgeist. So I think there were a lot of notes and changes that were probably made that made this like sort of not quite work, but it's like almost there. Like, it's not a fully realized vision. Whereas Megan, I think people really got camp and understood that this was a really good and funny concept that was going to get a lot of people in the seats, and it would have like 4-quadrant appeal. And so they were kind of allowed to do something that was like purely camp, knowingly silly.
So we have progressed as a society.
Exactly. This is
why
Chappell
Roan is popular.
Yeah, exactly. That's Ma. I really think it's a great film. I can see where some of it doesn't. It's like a little sweaty. It's a little clunky. I can see where people think that it was bad in an eager and sincere sense. But I see it where it was fully leaning into the absurdity and the tropes of horror movies and things like that.
I gotta watch this. I have not seen it. I'm not deterred by being spoiled. I'm excited. I think it is telling that this movie was not like a massive blockbuster. Like, it was not a huge like dark horse success.
Yeah.
But it still has this like really enduring legacy in the form of like memes. Like, there is something that is like crystallized in this film that is just still relevant. You know?
Yeah. So there are so many funny parts. She does the robot with a hilarious face while she's doing it. It's so good. She wears like crazy wigs, crazy hats. And like I said, the wigs like just changing from scene to scene or in the same scene are so funny. Like, you just have to see it. And the performances are all very good.
One more shout out before we move on. You should read this article that I saw on Gawker. This is before the collapse.
All right.
There was an article about the reassessment of Ma.
Oh my god, was there?
Yes. It contains a quote from one of our pod faves, Ayo Edebiri.
Oh my god, no way! I didn't know that.
I'll send you the link.
Oh my god, see? Look at me. I have tastes and so does Ayo.
Here's what she said. She said, when people watch things, there's an air of like watching and critiquing at the same time, or watching and knowing what your takeaway is going to be. And Ma, you cannot do that. Like, it physically breaks apart that part of your brain. Like, it actually gets into the synapses and dismantles that. You're not allowed to have any sort of critical thought while you watch Ma.
Okay, I think like spiritually, I'm pretty aligned with her take on it because, like I said, I can see where things didn't work. I can get this is a little clunky, this part's a little sweaty. That doesn't quite make rational sense. But I can see what the intention was. And I'm telling you, like, I mean, Octavia Spencer alone is just like such a force and so good and funny and creepy in this movie. And she like changes like her attitude and demeanor and mannerisms on a dime. Like, it's just a tour de force of acting. And the rest of the cast is really good too, especially Allison Janney. That is so exciting. I can't wait to read this. You know what? Do you remember Gawker? Remember the heyday of Gawker?
What a time. I do. Well, actually, weirdly, because I follow a lot of like the AV Club is one of my favorite websites. was a part of Gawker
It
Media,
was.
right? And I remember like reading a lot about Gawker's collapse eventually. Hulk Hogan, what a time.
Hulk Hogan. Did you know about Gawker Stalker though?
It is familiar to me, but
Okay.
I wasn't like a reader. Yeah.
I was absolutely a reader. You know I was. I was eating up all the celebrity goss I could get back in that day. But Gawker Stalker was, let's keep in mind I was like 16, 17, 18 when Gawker Stalker was a thing. But it was like a part of Gawker Media that would like describe where celebrities had recently been cited, like in real time, basically. They would be like, oh,
Yeah.
Mariska Hargitay's at the corner of 5th Avenue and 31st Street filming a scene for Law & Order SVU. That's definitely, obviously, unsafe and problematic, and, like, I know that now, but as a teenager, I was like, oh my god, amazing, I have to go there, because I was living in New York at the time. So I would, like, sometimes, like, see Gawker Stalker posts and be like, oh my god, that's nearby. Like, they were shooting Gossip Girl, Project Runway.
Yeah, Gossip. That was the era of Gossip Girl. Yeah.
Just a little shout out to Gawker Stalker.
With that, I think it's time to move on to our What's Goods for the week. So let's take a quick break.
Let's.
We're back, and we're ready to share our recommendations for the week. Jeff, we took a good hard look at the disgusting, rotting belly of Hollywood at the beginning of this episode.
We really did.
We got into how we are the true arbiters of taste in today's culture during our main segment.
And we surely are. I stand by it.
And now I'm here to ask you, what's good?
Well, Justin, as I mentioned earlier, I have really been enjoying rewatching Succession. Succession is a show, for those who don't know, on HBO, not Max. And I believe it premiered in 2018, maybe 2017, can't remember.
Wow, different era. I can't believe it was that long ago.
It was during the second Dark Age.
The before times.
I don't know, we might still be in it.
Yeah, true.
But Succession is a show about a media tycoon who is kind of reaching the limits of his ability, and he's trying to figure out which of his 4 power-hungry and conniving children, this is the second time I used the word conniving today, should take over the company. That is the basic premise of the show. I would like to say that the show has many more layers than that. It's really a character study.
It is Shakespearean. Like,
yeah,
most of the actors
Shakespearean.
are experienced like stage
theater
actors. Right.
Mm-hmm. For example, Brian Cox. For another example, Jeremy Strong. Noted method actor. Also an actor where there are a lot of Hollywood blind items and stories about him being a terror to work with.
Yep.
I'm sorry. If Miss Anne Hathaway, Princess of Genovia, thinks that you're difficult, or that she can't really speak about you because she doesn't really feel like she knows you, then there's something wrong and you're the problem. Hi, it's you. Because Anne Hathaway is a goddess walking on Earth. We're lucky to live in the same time as her. She is a fashion icon.
An unproblematic fave.
Unproblematic fave. Beauty. Beautiful beauty. Also, Hollywood darling. Also, fellow cool winter.
Okay, are we just gonna go until we can't think of other things, or?
Point for me. And also, I would like to say, queen of setting healthy boundaries. Have you seen the videos of Anne Hathaway interacting with fans on TikTok?
I have not, no.
I'm surprised I've not sent them to you, or you've not heard me say calma, calma.
You gotta we gotta put the link in the show notes for that.
We're putting that in because, let me tell you, I fucking love it. I feel bad a lot of times with celebrities because I do see them getting absolutely ambushed in a way that I can imagine is very scary. Like having people run up to you and want people like wanting you not only to give them your attention and emote with them and carry their emotions about you or your work, but also like physically wanting to touch you and like be physically close to you, that is creepy and I think so dangerous, because there are so many people out there who are unregulated. Let's just say that. I can imagine that's very scary if you're a celebrity. I mean, it happened to me the other day in the grocery store, so I understand where Anne Hathaway's coming from. We're very similar, she and I.
Yeah, I would say basically indistinguishable. Yeah.
Yeah. People often come up to me and they're like, Annie, and I turn around and they're like, oh, sorry, I thought you were someone else. Happens all the time. Anne Hathaway gentle parents her fans and the paparazzi, and she gets out of her car to be on trend. She's very classy, very demure. She gets out of her car and she gives a little wave, a royal wrist wagging Princess of Genovia wave.
Of course.
And she's like, hello, hi, it's good to see you. I would like to take some photos. I don't have time to take photos with everybody. I'm happy to sign things. Could you please make sure you keep the caps off of your markers? And keep in mind that I don't sign anything clear or anything in blue ink. And she's like, I will come to you. Please don't brush towards me. And I'm happy to spend a moment with each of you. And she's like, that's what I can do today. And then she goes and she does it.
I am so fascinated by this. I've never seen any of these videos.
Justin, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. She has such command, speaking so softly and so firmly. It's not impolite. It's not off-putting. It is just like firmly, this is what's going to happen now. And everyone's just like, yeah, okay, sounds good. We'll do that. I fucking love it. I love it. And you know what, Justin? I think it's something that Logan Roy could have learned to do. And I think that his family would have been stronger with that kind of boundary setting and polite but firm communication style.
I would agree with that.
I would have loved to see Anne Hathaway be a guest actor in Succession. She would have been fucking great. Wouldn't that have been amazing?
Yeah, she would have been great. Yeah.
I want to see her do TV. I want to see her do some prestige television. I would fucking watch the shit out of that. I love Anne Hathaway. I fucking love it.
What's good today for Jeff? Anne Hathaway.
All right, so we're doing Succession and Anne Hathaway.
Yes. I think that's a great combo. Yeah.
Well, I would have loved to see her on that show, but I will say that actors that are on that show, excellent. Kieran Culkin.
Crazy. Easily, I mean, it's hard to say who's the funniest because I think Kendall is equally funny, but yeah, Kieran is hilarious on that
Kieran,
show.
we're laughing with him. Kendall, we're laughing
fully laughing at him. Yeah.
Because he takes himself very seriously. I want to shout out one of my favorite gingers, Sarah Snook. Amazing.
Incredible in that show.
Amazing in that show. I would say, I think I said before on this podcast that Nicole Kidman is the queen of eye acting. And I would actually like to say, Sarah Snook could give Nicole a run for her fucking money.
The eyebrows on Snook.
What she's able to convey with those little commas above her eyes, it's really, really something.
And often
she's
funny.
A great face actor.
Yeah.
She is also funny in a way that is, we're in on the joke. But I will say, when she's with her husband, Tom, who is portrayed by Matthew McFadden, then we're kind of laughing at her. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. Tom is such a comically evil and pretty incompetent in some ways.
Yeah, deeply incompetent.
Dude. Yeah, it's hard to call him incompetent because so many people on that show are worse than him, like more incompetent than him. But yeah, he is generally kind of like comic relief until he isn't.
Yeah. There's also like really great guest actors on that show. I mean, every performance on that show is excellent. I have not once watched it and been like, oh, they really kind of gave up on that one. There's so much humor in that show. It's definitely a dark humor. It's definitely like a dark comedy, but I think it's really great. And if you haven't watched Succession, I suggest you stream it on HBO Max. There's 4 seasons, 10 episodes each season. This was one show HBO did not try to shorten for no goddamn reason, thank God. So we got 40 hours of excellent television, prestige acting. I think it was nominated for like 50 different Emmys or something like that in its 4-season run. pretty amazing stuff. So if you've not yet watched Succession, I highly recommend you binge it.
One of my favorite shows of all time, and one of my favorite individual episodes of TV of all time in the final season.
Which episode?
I don't want to spoil anything, but you know the one. It's the wedding.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So good.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about a lot of things today.
We have.
We discussed the legality of medically prescribed ketamine.
Mm-hmm.
We discussed Anne Hathaway.
We did. Got us.
We talked about Blake Lively and Justin Whoozy What's It.
Not me. Not related.
We talked about Colleen Hoover. We talked about Prometheus.
We did.
We talked about Alien. And we talked about Ma.
We did.
Talked a lot about Ma. And Succession. Now we're at the point of the pod where I've got to ask you, Justin, what's good?
Well, Jeff, I have been playing a game with some of my friends in DC recently. It's a board game, and there is also a version that you can buy on Switch or on Steam or on your phone.
If you say Settlers of Catan, I'm walking off the podcast right now.
It's not that. Don't worry. It is called Wingspan. It is a bird-themed board game. First of all, the artwork on this game is beautiful. They have like illustrations of like hundreds of species of birds.
Ooh.
With their like real name like completely accurate to real life. And the information on these cards is like accurate to the real birds. So I'll get into the mechanics of the game in a little bit, but just as like a physical art piece, it's gorgeous. Like one of the most aesthetically pleasing board games I've ever seen.
I love that.
So the game, in the board game lingo, it's called an engine building game. And what that means basically is that you are playing against other people who are all basically given at the beginning of the game a random set of birds who each have different functions. They might be able to lay eggs under specific scenarios. They might be able to like store food under certain scenarios, right? They might be able to kill other smaller birds in certain scenarios. You start with these random birds, and you basically have to build like an ecosystem.
Oh, wow.
Where the birds work together to like feed into each other's abilities to like form kind of like a natural economy, right? You earn points by making things like eggs, by gathering food, by killing other birds or otherwise tucking other birds behind your existing birds. It's very satisfying because I don't know if you've played any of these kind of like roguelike games, but part of those games is like discovering specific combinations of like really cool birds that when played with each other have like a synergy that allows you to just like win a game by 1,000,000 points. And that kind of thing is possible in Wingspan because let's give an example.
Please do, because I'm very confused.
Okay. Like I said, you can get points by doing a lot of things, and whoever has the most points win, right?
Yep.
So if you've got like a bunch of eggs, you get points for all those eggs. That's a boon for you. If you have a bunch of food stored on your birds, if your birds have stored a bunch of food, that's a big boon for you. So let's say like hypothetically, you have 2 birds. One of them is like, you can draw 2 new birds in exchange for 1 egg, right? Alone, it's like, okay, that's fine. I guess I get an extra card, 1 egg for 2 cards. That's a pretty good deal. But if there's another bird that's like, every time that you activate this card, tuck 1 card behind this card, like tuck another bird behind this card, and then you can lay 2 eggs. Okay. Then you have a cycle. And every time that you activate that row of birds, you're just getting basically free money. It's like a perfect combination. The synergy is wild. So it's basically like a race to discover one of those synergies before your opponents. And it's very satisfying. Brandy, who is somebody who enjoys board games but is more of like a casual board game enjoyer, doesn't really like super complicated ones. This one is like a little bit on the complicated side, and she is like obsessed with playing it.
I was just going to say, I can really see Brandy loving this because there's immense satisfaction that Brandy and I share in winning and strategy.
Yes.
And I can really see her being like really good at this and really liking it.
This morning we woke up and I was starting to play it on my Switch because I have both the digital version and the real life version. And Brandy was like, "Oh, can I play with you?" And I was like, "Sure, let's just like break out the real version and play it on the table." And it was like 7:30 a.m.
So you can play it with 2 people.
You can play it with anywhere from 1 to like, I think 5 people. You can even play it by yourself. Yeah.
That's fun.
It's a great game.
It's interesting because like this feels like you're God and also like you're a fucking industrial revolution, like Baron, like, and you're putting lots of money into like R&D.
That is exactly.
And hiring consultants to tell you how to optimize your operation to make the most money.
These games, both board games and video games, is basically like an optimization game.
Yeah.
It's like, how can I maximize the value out of this?
Right. And that's what Brandy and I love too. We love that kind of strategy.
What's nice about Wingspan is that normally these types of games, I mean, the genre is called engine building. And it can often be applied to like a war machine or, like you mentioned, like an industry, right? Usually these games are like these big war games, right?
Interesting. Okay. I didn't know this was a genre of video game. I'm learning a lot today.
Less so a genre of video game, more so a genre of board game, although there are video games that are similar.
Yeah, didn't know that it was a genre period. How's that?
Wingspan basically turns that on its head, and instead it's about like the natural ecosystem, which isn't as like sinister of a machine.
Am I missing the point because I immediately was like, capitalism?
No, I think you're catching on to the fact that there are parallels between like capitalism and this type of game where like that joy of optimizing, getting the most out of the least, right?
Point for me.
But Wingspan allows you to enjoy that, because instead of making a parallel with capitalism, it makes a parallel with like the way the natural ecosystems need to be like perfectly balanced, basically, in order for them to exist, right? And that's what you're trying to do in the game, is like make the healthiest ecosystem.
Proliferation of undisturbed flora and fauna.
So I would highly recommend, if that sounds intriguing to
Good
you.
for everybody. Hurts no one. Good for the economy.
So if you are interested in that, you can buy the board game Wingspan. You can buy the game on Switch, where I have it. You can buy it on Steam. You can even buy it as an app on your iPhone. You can play online against random people through matchmaking, or you can play online versus your friends. And there's like this great asynchronous mode where you can take up to 3 days for each move. So you can just like passively play it like on your phone once a day or something like that. So
wait, this sounds so great.
It is actually
like, this sounds like a great concept.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Not just concept, but like the thought of like these different modalities through which you can enjoy the game. I really like that. If it's a
good game in board game form, it's probably a good game virtually, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that stands to reason.
So yeah, pick it up.
Wingspan. Stream it now on HBO.
This has been an episode of BANTS.
That's where we're ending it? Okay. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for listening.
Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Bye.
This has been BANTS with Jeff and Justin. BANTS is created and produced by Jeff Taylor and Justin Benavides. Graphic design by Jeff Taylor. Editing by me, Justin Benavides. The theme music for BANTS is the track Time With You by Tolliff, featuring Rule, that's spelled RVLE, and it's provided by No Copyright Sounds. Email us at bantspod@gmail.com with any questions, recommendations, or just to say hi. If you like the podcast, rate and review us on Apple or Spotify, and tell your friends. See ya!
Oh, I hear a Brands. Brandy.
Hello, Jeffy.
Hi. Did you hear me chanting for you?
I did, like, very briefly. Wait, how can I can't see you. Why can't I see Jeff?
Wow, Justin's not even fucking looking at me?
From my point of view, he's not. He's just looking at himself.
Oh,
there's
my
like a
God. I can't even believe this. Justin,
I can't see Jeff. There he is.
We're just on the wrong desktop.
Oh, never mind. I guess he was looking at you. False information.
You better have been.
I'm so sorry.
Wow. Brandy almost caused a rift on the pod. Divorce!
Not yet. We're not married officially.
No, I'm saying me and Justin are getting
divorce.
a business divorce because he wasn't watching me.
Yes. Brandy!